It was loud. Too loud. Okay, Horst, do me a favor. Don't laugh like that again until I've had 2 coffees. He laughed again. A lot. You're kind of a slow learner, aren't you? He laughed again. Then he offered me a cup of hot coffee. It was excellent. You can't dislike someone who brings you good, strong coffee when you've been 30-minute drunk only 4 hours before. I looked up at him. His eyes were sun-bleached blue. His head seemed unnaturally large to me. I thought that Ankit's coconut lime drinks were to blame until I stood and saw that he had an unnaturally large head. That's a big head you've got on you, I said, as I shook hands with him. Ever played rugby? No, he laughed. You can't imagine how hard it is to find a hat that fits. No, I agreed. I can't. Thanks for the coffee. I started to walk away. It was still in the half-light. I wanted to beat the dawn to my bedroom and sleep a little more. But you have to report at the checkpoint, he said. And believe me, it's much safer for us just after dawn than at any other time, yeah. I was still wearing the flak vest marked press. He was inviting me as a fellow journalist. If I had to do it, it was better in company. Sleep no more. Who are you with? I asked. Der Spiegel, he replied. Well, I'm freelancing for them. And you? How long have you been here? Long enough to know the safest time to report to the checkpoint. Do I have time to wash up? Make it quick. I ran upstairs to my room, stripped off, had a cold shower, and was dried and revested in 6 minutes. I came down the stairs in a jog, but found the lounge area empty. The windows of dawn light were at exactly the same intensity as the lights in the room. A light without shadows. A soft, scraping sound stirred the stillness. Gardeners were working already. I walked through to the long, wide veranda, directly above the open wound of lawns surrounding the hotel. A wound that the jungle ceaselessly sought to heal. 7 servants were hard at work, hacking, chopping and spraying herbicide on the perimeter. The urban front line in the war with nature. I watched them for a while, waiting for Horst. I could hear the jungle, speaking the wind. Give us 25 years. Leave this place. Come back after 25 years. You'll see. We'll heal it of all this pain. I'd like to have a few of those fellows working for me, Horst said, as he came to stand beside me. My girlfriend has a place in Normandy. It's lovely, and all that, but it's a lot of work. A couple of these guys would fix it up in no time. They're Tamils, I said, watching them drift across lawns lit by hovering dew. Tamils are like the Irish. They're everywhere. You'll find hard-working Tamils in Normandy if you look hard enough. How do you know they're Tamils? Horst asked suspiciously. I turned to face him. I wanted another coffee. They're doing the dirty work, I said. Oh, yeah, he laughed. It wasn't funny. I wasn't laughing. He pinched his laugh to a frown. Which agency did you say you're with? I didn't say. You're a real secretive guy, aren't you? The shooting is wallpaper. The real war is always between us, the journalists. What are you talking about? Horst asked nervously. I just asked you who you're with, that's all. See, if I make friends with you, and I break a story, and then I find out you stole it from me, I'd have to hunt you down and beat you up. And that's not good. He squinted at me. His eyes flared. Reuters, he said. Only you Reuters pricks are so stingy with a story. I wanted another coffee. Ankit appeared at my elbow. He was carrying a small glass of something. I thought that a fortification might be required, sir, if you will forgive the impertinence, Ankit said. The road you walked this morning is not kind. I drank the glass, discovering that it was sherry and damn good. Ankit, I said, we just got related. Very good, sir, Ankit replied equably. You there, Horst said to Ankit. Can you find out, please, if any of these fellows have work permits for outside of Sri Lanka? I held Ankit's response with a raised hand. Are we gonna get going, Horst, before the bears wake up? Bears? He said, making it sound like beers. There are no bears. It's tigers, not bears. The Tamil tigers. They're absolutely crazy, those fucks. They all carry suicide capsules in case they're caught. You don't say. They don't seem to realize that when they do that, commit suicide like that, they make the other side even more determined to throw them out of the country. Are we gonna do this? Yeah, sure. Don't set fire to your pants. What? Don't set fire to your pants, he repeated crossly, crossing the lawn. Already with the rules, I said, following him out onto the main road. Fighting in Trincomalee had ceased, and a slender ceasefire had prevailed for weeks. The German staff of Der Spiegel had returned to their home offices for other assignments. Horst, an Austrian stringer, had stayed on. He was holding out for a new story, one that he could break without competition. He was hoping, in fact, that the Tamil Tigers would launch an offensive in the area, and that his faded blue eyes would be the first eyes on a new war. He was a tall, healthy, well-educated young man, in love with a girl, probably a nice girl, who lived on a farm in Normandy, and he was hoping for more war in Sri Lanka. Journalism, Didier once said to Ranjit, the media baron, the cure that becomes its own disease. You haven't got a camera? Horst asked, after we'd walked and talked about Horst for about 15 minutes. In my experience, checkpoints are allergic to any cameras but their own. True, he agreed, but there was a severed head on the road yesterday. The first one for a month. And, if we see another one today, I'm not going to share the pictures. Okay, it's not my fault that you left your camera. Got it, just, so we're straight on that, okay? I don't want your pictures of severed heads, Horst. I don't even want to think about them. If there's another severed head on this road, he's all yours. There was another severed head on that road, only 50 meters further along. At first, I thought it was a trick, a pumpkin or a squash, shoved onto a pole as a macabre joke. In a few steps, I saw that he was a dead kid, maybe 16 or 17. His head was propped on a bamboo pole, driven into the ground so that the boy's dead face was face to face with any living face that passed on the main road. The eyes were shut, the mouth was wide open. Horst was adjusting his camera. I told you so, he said. I told you so. I started to walk along the road. He called out to me. Where are you going? Catch me up. No, it's not safe, alone on this road. That's why I wanted to walk together. You should stay with me. I mean, for your safety. I kept walking. In 2 days. Horst said, as distance lost him. Something's up. I can feel it. I knew I was right to stay. He was clicking his camera. Click clack, click clack. Killing the kid was a crime, but spiking his head was a sin, and sin always demands expiation. My heart wanted to find a way to return the kid's head to his parents, help them find the rest of him, somehow, and lay him to rest. But I couldn't listen to my heart. I couldn't even lay his dead young head on the earth, which every instinct inside me cried to do. I had a vest full of gold and passports, and my own passport was as false as my journalist accreditation. I was a smuggler, on a mission, and I had to walk away. Alone on the road I grieved for that kid, whoever he was, whatever he'd done. I walked on, finding my hard face again, trying to lose all thought of it in the jungle, bright in a brief halo of sunlight between storms. Trees were plentiful, growing tall and strong in nurseries of shrubs and plants, some waist high, some reaching to my shoulders. The leaves shivered drops of the last rain onto the thick roots of the trees, devotees pouring scented oil on the feet of tree saints, whose raised arm branches and million-hand leaves had prayed the storm from the sea. Without trees to pray for it, there's no rain, Lisa once said to me, as we'd rushed out to enjoy a warm, monsoon rainstorm. Winds from the sea pacified storm-shaken trees. Branches dipped and swayed, foaming leaves waving with the sound of surf on the shore of the sky. Birds hovered and swooped, vanishing in walls of green, and darting out again, their shadows glittering on the wet road. Nature was healing me, as nature does, when we let it. I stopped grieving for the lost kid beside the road, and the lost kid inside me, and I stopped saying the words severed head. A car approached me from the north. It was a battered white sedan, with the headlights covered in stars of black tape. The driver was a woman. She was chunky. She was short. She was 30. She was wearing a sky blue hijab. She stopped beside me and leaned over to roll down the window. What the fuck do you think you're doing? She demanded. Don't tell me. But, you just asked. Get in the car. Who are you, again? Get in the car. I got in the car. You're compromised, she said, a pinched frown of contempt looking me up and down. Salam alaikum, I said. You're compromised, she repeated. Salam alaikum, I said. Wa alaikum salam, she replied, squinting at me angrily. We've got to get out of here. She drove off, but in a few seconds we saw Horst, still standing beside the kid's head, still trying to get that perfect shot. She wanted to drive on, but I stopped her, some 10 meters past the journalist. He'll ask questions if I disappear from the road. Let me handle this. I got out of the car and jogged back to Horst. What's going on? Who's that with you? I've just heard, I said breathlessly. Fighting has started again. I'm getting the hell out of here. You want a ride back to the hotel? His eyes narrowed as he looked north on the deserted road. No. See, I think I'll hang around. You go. It's okay. I don't like to leave you like this when it's getting dangerous. No, I'm fine. I'll go see what's happening at the checkpoint. You go on. He fumbled with the camera and offered his hand. I shook it. Good luck, I said. Same to you. And do me a favor? Since you're going, keep this to yourself for as long as you can, okay? Not a problem. Bye, Horst. He was already walking away, preparing his camera. Click clack. When I got back in the car, I saw that Blue Hijab had a pistol in her hand. She was pointing it at me. All good, I said. She drove off at speed, one-handed. She was changing gears with the hand that held the pistol, and making me nervous enough to flinch as she nudged the lever violently with the heel of her hand. What are you two, sweethearts? She demanded. Blah, blah, blah. What did you tell him? What he wanted to hear. Are you going to shoot me? She seemed to consider it. I don't know, she said. What did you tell that man? Whose side are you on? Your side, I hope. And if you shoot me, you'll put a hole in one of the passports. She swung the car into a clearing that became a parking bay amid the trees. She turned off the engine and put both hands on the gun. You think this is funny? I'm dragged from a cover that I've worked on for 2 years to pick you up at the hotel, collect the stuff, and drive you to the airport. A cover? What are you, a spy? Shut up. Okay, who are you again? I find you on the road, alone, she said, staring enigmas at me. Then you stop to talk to a stranger. Convince me this isn't a mistake, or by Allah I'll put a bullet in your head and strip the gold off your body. If you know your holy Quran, I said, it should be enough for me to give you the number of a verse. What the hell? 224, I said. The cow, she sneered, giving the name of the verse from the Quran. Are you trying to make a point about me? Are you saying I'm fat? Of course not. You're curvy. Cut it out. You started it. Back to the verse, smart guy. If you're not a Muslim, and you're gonna learn a few verses from the Quran, verse 224, is a nice place to start. And make not Allah's name an excuse in your oaths against doing good and acting piously. And making peace among mankind, she finished for me, smiling for the first time. Shall we do this? I asked, beginning to wrestle out of my jacket. She put the gun in a pocket of her skirt, opened the back door of the car, and began to pull the back seat upright. There was a hiding place underneath, behind a false cover. When I handed her the vest, she did a thorough check of every pocket and each passport. Satisfied, she put the vest into the hiding place and concealed it with the snap-fit cover. The seat clicked back into place, and we got back in the car. We'll stop at the hotel, she said, driving off. You have to check out. We need you to be a ghost from here. A ghost? Shut up. We're here. Go inside, get your stuff and check out. I'll put petrol in the car and meet you here in 15 minutes. Not a second more. Do you? Get out. I got out. I ran the steps, entered the reception area and heard my name. Mr. Davis. It was Ankit, the night and day porter, standing in a bay window. He had a tray in his hand. I saw Blue Hijab, he said, as I approached him, and thought you might be needing this. I took a long sip of the long drink. They don't call you the complete for nothing, Ankit. One strives to please, sir. Your things are with me at the desk. You need only sign the register when you're ready. Let's do it now. You've got a 6-hour drive ahead. I'm here, if you want to take a minute to freshen up. When I returned, Ankit had refilled the drink, and there was a packet of sandwiches, some water, and 2 bottles of soft drink beside my backpack on the counter. I gave him a small roll of money. It was about 500 American. No, I can't take this, he said. It's too much. We may never see each other again, Ankit. Let's not part fighting. He smiled and put the money away. The snacks will keep you going, and this might help, if things get a little tense, with Blue Hijab. It was a dime of hashish and a packet of cigarettes. I should smoke hash, if things get tense with an armed, angry woman? I asked, accepting the gift. No, he said, she should. Blue Hijab smokes hash? Loves the stuff, Ankit said, packing the drinks and food into my backpack. It's like catnip. But save it, for as long as you can. She gets mean when it runs out. A car stopped hard outside. The horn sounded 3 times. You should imagine that she's Durga, the warrior goddess, mounted on a tiger, and behave accordingly. How's that, exactly? Be respectful, devoted and afraid, Ankit said, wagging his head wickedly. It's been a pleasure, new old friend. Goodbye. I turned at the door to see him smiling and waving. I looked back at the car to see Blue Hijab, jabbing a finger at me, the engine of the car revving. We roared out of the driveway and onto the main road, heading south toward Colombo. She leaned forward in her seat, her arms taut and her knuckles white. After 10 minutes of listening to her teeth grinding the pepper of her temper, I decided to make conversation. I met your husband, Memu. This is how you break a serene silence. With mention of my bloody husband? Serene? I've seen more serenity under interrogation. To hell with you, she said, but she relaxed against the seat, drained of rage. I've been tense, and I don't want to get any tenser. I wanted to say something funny, but she had a gun. She drove well. I studied her style for a while as she passed trucks, slowed for temporary barriers, and hit sharp corners. I love being driven by a driver I trust. It's a roller coaster with fatal risk. The windscreen was a bubble, moving through space and time. Tree shadows arched over the car as we passed, trying to comfort us as the forests ended and fenced houses became beads and baubles on another chain of civilization. I shot a man, yesterday, she said, after a while. A friend or an enemy? Does it make a difference? Hell, yeah, he was an enemy. We drove in silence, for a while. Did you kill him? I asked. No. Could you have killed him? Yes. The mercy outweighs the shame, I said. Fuck you, she said. All that cursing isn't exactly in line with Islam, is it? It's in English, it doesn't count, and I'm a Muslim communist, she said. Okay. She pulled the car into a roadside stop amid fields of flowers, sprung from sodden earth. She looked around, and turned the engine off. Did Memu look well? He did. Really? Yeah, I like him. A lot, actually. She sobbed, suddenly, tears falling as freely as the raindrops that began to spatter the windows. Just as quickly she recovered, dried her eyes, and began to open the bag of sandwiches. She cried again, and couldn't stop. Something inside her was all of it, everything at once. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know her. I saw the new moon chips of nail polish near her cuticles, the bruise on her face, about the size of a man's ring, the cuts on her own knuckles, the fragrance of fresh soap in her clothes, hand washed in a hotel basin, the bag on the back seat, carrying essentials for a quick escape, and the quick escape she made every time her eyes detected that I might be looking into her, and not just at her. But observation only took me to a tough, brave, devout girl on the run, who's meticulous in her hygiene, but won't clean the last colored fragment of the girl she was from her fingernails. The why of her was still a mystery, because the why of anyone only comes with connection. I felt helpless to console her. There were tissues in the bag. I handed them to her, one at a time, until the tears dried and the sobbing stopped, as the rain all around us stopped. We got out and stood by the car. I tipped a stream of water from a bottle into her cupped hands, so that she could wash her face. She stood there for a while, breathing air scented by white flowers, clinging to vines all around us. We got back in the car, and I mixed a cigarette joint. She wouldn't pass it back to me, so I mixed another. She wouldn't give that back either, so I made a couple more cigarettes. Minds floated free across fields of green velvet to memory's greener pastures. That place, inside, where the soul is always a tourist. And I don't know what memories danced for Blue Hijab in those minutes, but for me it was Carla, turning and twirling, as she danced at the party. Carla, I'm starving, Blue Hijab said. And by the way, I know, If I speak a word of this to anyone, you'll shoot me. I was going to say, thank you. But damn right. Pass me a sandwich. She started the car and eased it out of the parking bay. You don't want me to take over for a while? I drive, she said, heading out onto the highway again, at speed. I always drive. Give me a sandwich. What kind do you want? Give me one of those I don't give a fuck sandwiches. You got one of those? A whole sack, as it turns out. She never spoke again on the trip. Sometimes she muttered zikr, phrases spoken in remembrance of God. Once, she broke into a chorus from a song, only to fade again in a few bars. And when we stopped, before the road swerved into the entrance of the airport in Colombo, she simply turned the engine off and stared at me, in a continuation of that long silence, as strange as it was surprisingly sad. "I Muzanina," I said. "The doers of good?" She translated. "You were saying it while you were driving. Do you have a second passport?" "Of course. Get the first flight out that you can. Get home as fast as you can. Do you hear me? Get home as fast as I can." "Okay, mummy. Be serious. Do you need anything? You never told me how the mission was compromised." "And I won't," she said evenly. "You're tighter with a story than a Reuters correspondent. Anyone ever tell you that, blue hijab?" She laughed, and I was glad to see it. "Go, now." "Wait," I said. "I have something to give you. But if I do, you have to promise me something." "What, something?" "Promise me not to shoot Memu again. At least, not for something connected to me. I like the guy. I married the guy," she snarled. "But okay, I won't shoot him. I've already shot him twice, and he never stops whining about it." I took the small automatic from my pocket, took the spare shells from the other pocket, and handed them to her. "I think he wanted me to give you this," I said. She cradled the small gun in her palms. "Memu, meboob," she muttered, then tucked the gun away into another of the pockets in the pleated curtain of her black skirt. "Thank you." I stood from the car, stooping to say goodbye. "He's a very lucky man," I said. "Allah Hafiz. Much luckier, now that I pledged not to shoot him again." "Allah Hafiz." She drove away, and I made my way on foot up the entrance ramp to the airport. In 45 minutes I'd checked in. I was lucky, or Blue Hijab's timing had been perfect. I only had an hour to wait. I found a place where I could watch the people walking past, look at the faces, study the walk, see tension or empathy, lethargy or urgency, listen to the tenor of a laugh or a shout, feel a baby's cry ripple through the hearts of almost all who hear it. A still moment in a public space, watching and waiting for the expression or cadence that writes itself. A man came to sit beside me. He was tall and thin, with a bushy mustache and slicked back hair. He was wearing a yellow shirt and white trousers. "Hello," he said out loud, and then changed to a whisper. "We should greet one another as friends, and go to the bar. I'm your contact here. It will look less suspicious if we're having a drink." He offered his hand. I took it, drawing him in closer. "I think you've made a mistake, Jack," I said, holding his hand fast in mine. "It's okay," he said. "Blue Hijab called, and gave me your description." I released his hand and we stood together, pretend friends. "Her description was perfect," he said. "She really studied you." "Somehow, that doesn't fill me with reassurance," I said, as we walked to the airport bar. "Hell, no," he replied, throwing an arm around my shoulder. "With Blue Hijab, it's better to keep it to fuzzy recollections. What is it, with the communist connection? When you're looking for fighters, the enemy of your enemy is a good place to start." "What does that mean?" "I can't say any more than that." We talked the waiting minutes. He told me stories that might have been true, and I listened with what might have been belief, and then I cut him off before he started a new story. "What's this all about? What do you mean? Nobody has an exit contact at the airport," I said. "And Blue Hijab said I was compromised. What's going on?" He looked me over for a while, and seemed to conclude that my patience was drifting toward a storm. "It was a good call. I can't say anything," he said, looking away. "You can. And you should. What the fuck is going on?" "Going on? Is there a threat to me in this airport, or not? Am I in danger? Am I gonna get busted? Spit it out, or spit your teeth out." "You are not in danger," he said quickly. "But you are the danger. I was sent to watch you, that you didn't do anything crazy." "Crazy? Crazy, crazy. Like, what? They didn't say. And you didn't ask? Nobody asks. You know that. We looked at one another. What were you going to do if I did something crazy? Smooth it over with the authorities and get you out of the country and back to Bombay as quick as possible. That's it? I swear. And I don't know any more. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry for that crack about spitting your teeth out. I felt like I was walking into a trap for a minute or two there. You are not in danger, he said comfortingly. But do not go directly to your house when you return. What do you mean? Just report to the company as soon as you return. Does this have something to do with how the mission was compromised? I don't know. Sanjay was very specific about reporting to him. Very specific. But he didn't explain. My flight was called. We shook hands again, and he slipped away through the crowds. I took my seat on the plane, and had 2 drinks before takeoff. I'd done the job. It was over. It was my last mission for the Sanjay company. I was free, and my heart, the fool in that castle in the sky, sang all the way to 30,000 feet. Chapter 35. I arrived in Bombay late, but Leopold's was still open, and I knew Didier would probably be there. I wanted a report. The tall, thin airport contact had told me to go directly to the company, which was unusual. I had a standing appointment with Sanjay 24 hours after I returned from any mission. It was a mandatory cooling-off period, in case I was being followed, and Sanjay never varied that routine. But nothing about the job was usual policy, and none of it made sense. Before I went to my apartment, or Sanjay, I wanted Didier to tell me everything that had happened while I'd been away, and where Lisa was staying. And Didier gave me a report, but not there. We took a taxi in solemn silence. Didier answered every question with a raised hand. We stopped at a quiet place, with a view of the shrine at Haji Ali. Lisa is dead, he told me, beside the windy sea, from an overdose of drugs. What? What are you saying? She is gone, Lin. From drugs? What drugs? Rohypnol, Didier replied sadly. No. Yes. It's not possible. How could she be dead, I thought, and me not feel it, not know it somehow, not sense it? It is a fact, my friend. She is no more. Splinters of lost time stabbed at me. All the things I should have said and should have done with Lisa, all the minutes I didn't use to cherish her, everything stabbed me in the chest. I wasn't there, with her, at the end. It can't be true. Sadly, it is true, Lin. I felt my knees wanting to run, or give way. A world without Lisa. Didier put an arm around me. We rested against the promenade wall. A force of life drained away from me into the air. Atoms of love separated from the source, because the world was turning too fast to hold them. The sky was hiding behind black cloaks of cloud, and the city light on the water was the ocean crying. Something inside me was dying, and something else, a ghost, was trying to free itself. I choked a breath, slowing my frantic heart, and faced my friend. Her family? They were here, he said. Very nice people. Did you talk to them? I did, and they talked to me, until they found out that I was your friend, as well as Lisa's. I am sorry to tell you, Lin, but they blame you, in part, for Lisa's death. Me? I spoke to them about you, and for you and Lisa together, but they did not believe me. They do not know you, so it is easier for them to blame a stranger than to know the truth. They left the city yesterday, with the body of our sad, sweet Lisa. She's gone? They took her home? She's gone, Lin. I am so sorry. I am desolate. Cars passed us in swarms between traffic signals, leaving the wide boulevard open and then empty again. All along the seawall people sat alone, in couples or in families, most of them gazing at the Haji Ali shrine, floating on the sea and lit for the soul. What happened? Tell me everything you know. You are sure that you are ready, my friend? Could we get drunk first? Let me have it. Could I get drunk first? Didier, come on. I loved her, too, you know, he said, taking a sip from his flask. And I've been through quite an ordeal, these last few days, without you. He put the flask away, took his brass cigarette case from his pocket, and selected a joint. Smoking peacefully for a few moments, he offered it to me. I'm good. You're good? He doubted, offering the joint again. I'm not good, but I'm okay. I'm not good okay. Tell me what happened. It was the night after you left. The night after? That's 5 days ago. I tried everything to find you, Lin. The Sanjay company would not say a word, and I could not find Abdullah. I think that wherever he is, he still does not know, as you did not. Abdullah, my heart said. Where are you? He'll be hurt, I said. He liked Lisa, and she always liked him. Very much so. She was his Rocky sister. His Rocky sister? She never told me that. And neither did he. A Rocky is a simple bracelet that a girl can tie on a boy's wrist, indicating that from that day onwards he must behave as her brother, and defend her staunchly. The bracelet is a symbol of the new brother's victory whenever he fights for her honor. I was her Rocky brother too, Lin. When did that happen? I had no idea that Lisa even participated in the Rocky ceremony, let alone that she'd chosen Abdullah and Didier as Rocky brothers. And it is my fault that she died, he said quietly. I failed, in my duty to protect her while you were away. He smoked for a while, refusing tears. He looked at me once and started to speak, but when our eyes met he turned away. We both knew it was true. I'd left her in his care, and he'd promised to watch over her. A street sweeper scraped his broom against the curb. He looked up at me and nodded amiably. I watched him swish and step, a Bayside boulevard, measured in sweeps of a broom. She pulled a prank on me, Didier said, and it was not fair of her to do such a thing, because I trusted her. Go on. We were watching a selection of excellent French films, which I had chosen for her personally, when she suddenly developed a headache. She retired early to bed, and sent me out to buy a certain medicine. When I returned, I discovered that I had been tricked. I found a note, saying that she was attending a party, and would return at dawn. He sighed, shaking his head, as tears fell. Where did she go? I learned that she was at a party for Bollywood movie stars, somewhere in Bandra. You know how many parties there are in Juhu and Bandra every night, and how late those parties run. I did not expect her to return before dawn, so I decided to remain awake, during the night, with Gemini, who never sleeps, and wait for her to call me. I left messages everywhere, including with your watchman. You're saying what, Didier? You were supposed to keep her safe, and she's dead, and I don't get it, so far. You are right, Lin, to condemn me. Who am I, to condemn anyone? I thought. And Lisa had played a lot of tricks on me, too. A few times she'd left me wondering for a long time where she was, and what she was doing. Okay, Didier. I get it. Lisa knows. Lisa knew how to escape. She was good at it. It's not your fault. Tell me the rest of it. I left messages for her, as I said, and I went to play poker with Gemini George, at the Mahesh. I was playing cards when our Lisa died. One of the street boys sent a note to me that Lisa had just been found, dead. I was desolate. And, when the autopsy was performed, no Lisa, cut open, organs removed. Don't think of it. Don't picture it, in your mind. An autopsy? It was not pleasant, Didier said. The police report confirmed that she died from an overdose of tranquilizers. She was alone when she was found. Rohypnol? Rohypnol, Didier frowned. Did you ever know her to use it, recreationally? Never. It doesn't make sense. She didn't do tranks. She hated them, as much as I do. She didn't even like it when other people did them. The police called it suicide, at first. They think she took a fatal dose of the drug intentionally. Suicide? No way. She's a fighter. She was a fighter, Lin. She is no more. Hadn't become was, yet. Lisa was still too strong. I could hear her teasing laugh, every time I let my mind go to her. Derelict as I was in my duty, when she was alive, Didier said, I ensured that the word suicide was removed from the record of her death. Her death is ruled as accidental, involving an accidentally fatal dose of the tranquilizer, Rohypnol. Lightning Dilip made me pay a tidy sum for it. That police station should establish itself as a bank. I would buy shares, if they did. Who found her? The night watchman? No, Lin, it was Carla who found her. Carla? She said that she had a late rendezvous with Lisa, at your apartment. When she arrived, she found the door open, walked inside, and found Lisa. She alerted the watchman, and he called an ambulance and the police. Carla? The ground was trembling, as if the waves were sweeping over the wall and through the road in murmured secrets. Yes. It was a terrible shock for her, but she was a tower of strength, as the English say. What was that? The police questioned Carla, quite physically, in fact. I advised her to leave the city for some time, but she refused. It was Carla who helped Lisa's parents through the whole of the thing. When was the last time you spoke to her? The last time? Yesterday. There was a small service for Lisa at the Afghan church, and she was there. A service for Lisa? Even though Lisa was gone? Yes. Carla organized it. It was too much, too many hits in a single round, too long to the bell and a safe corner. Carla did it? She did it alone, in fact. When she mentioned the idea to me, I offered to help, but she took charge of it herself. Who else was there? Her friends from the art gallery, a few of us from Leopold's, Kavita, Vikram, Johnny Cigar and his wife, Naveen Adair and Diva Devnani, the Zodiac George, and Stuart Vinson and his Norwegian girlfriend. Lisa's parents had already left the city with her body, so it was a quiet affair. Who spoke for Lisa? No one spoke. We just sat, silently, and then one by one we all left the church. Yesterday, when I should have been there, with others who loved Lisa. But yesterday I was staring at a severed head on the side of the road. Yesterday, I was being warned by my tall, thin contact at the airport not to go home. You are not in danger, he'd said. I hadn't been paying attention. I hadn't realized that what he'd said was specific to me. He'd hesitated, after the first word, for just an eyelid flicker. You are not in danger. He was telling me that I wasn't in danger, but that someone else was. Did he know? Did he already know that Lisa was dead, when he met me at the airport? And then I remembered Blue Hijab's tears, the sadness in them, the long, silent stare, when she dropped me at the airport. Did she know about Lisa? It happened days ago. The Sanjay company knew, for sure. They knew everything that happened in their ward. I guessed that Sanjay was worried I might find out about Lisa somehow, at the airport, and lose control. He sent the thin man, in case I found out about Lisa, and compromised his mission. I have done some research, with Naveen Adair, Didier said, examining me closely. The ground was moving or my knees were moving as if I was back on the deck of the Mitrata. I couldn't focus on what Didier was saying. There was ocean sound in most of my mind. Lisa, 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 Lynn? Sorry, what? I have been checking some facts with Naveen. What facts? It is not possible to determine how the Rohypnol came to be in Lisa's hands, but we did find out who supplied it. You did? How? We examined the pills from the evidence locker, and they have very distinctive markings. You stole police evidence? No, of course not. I bought police evidence. Well done. Whose dope was it? He hesitated, squinting at me, a net of concern covering his face. If I tell you, will you promise, truly, that you will not kill him without me? Who is it? Concannon, he sighed. That slippery slide shivered through the street again. I held the wall tighter, to stop falling. I couldn't tell if I was dizzy, or the world was unbalanced. Everything was out of sync. I looked around me, trying to get my head straight. The night was new moon clear. The stars were paled city light. Behind us cars passed in shoals, as fish passed in shoals before us, in the bay. She was not raped, Didier said. What did you say? When this drug is involved, there is always a suspicion of rape, he said softly. The police report said that there was no sign of rape. I thought you should know that. I looked down at the waves, lapping and splashing on boulders at the base of the seawall, waves cleaning shells and driftwood twigs from stony teeth, and soothing granite shoulders with patience, softened in the sea. The waves laughed. The waves cried. That glorious living second, ending as wind, and sea, and earth. The waves laughed, and cried, calling me. I was falling, hard. I had to get a grip. I had to pull myself together. I needed my motorcycle. I have to go home, I said. Of course, I will come with you. Didier, why do you always fight affection, Lynn? It is truly your great, personal flaw. Didier, know when a friend wants to do a loving thing, you must allow him. What is love but this? What is love but this? The words chanted themselves to me in the taxi, and only stopped when we reached the apartment, and sat down with the night watchman to ask about Lisa. He cried for her, and for what we were for him, always happy, kind and generous, on every festival and name day. When he calmed down, He told me that Lisa had returned around an hour after midnight, with 2 men in a black limousine. One of the men returned to the car, after 15 minutes or so, and drove away. The other man left about an hour later. Carla arrived a few minutes after, and called the watchman. Did you know the men? No, sir. What did they look like? One was a foreigner. He was the first one to leave. He had a loud voice. He was walking with 2 sticks, and he was shouting in pain, like maybe he had a broken leg. Or maybe 2 fresh bullet wounds in the leg, Didier observed. Concannon. And the other man? I never saw his face. He looked away from me, and he covered his mouth with a handkerchief, coming and going. Did he have a car? No, sir. He walked away, very fast, in the direction of Navy Club. Did you get the number of the car? Yes, sir. He went through his logbook, and gave me the number. I'm so sorry, sir. I should have. Your job is to guard the gate, not the apartments. It's not your fault. She liked you. Very much. And I know you would have saved her, if you could, just like I would have done. It's okay. I gave him a chunk of money, asked him to keep his eyes open for the cops, and climbed the steps to my apartment. I opened the door, walked through the living room and stepped into the bedroom. That place of quarrel and love, for us, had become a tomb for Lisa, alone. The mattress she'd bought because she liked the seahorse pattern on the cover was stripped bare, but for 2 pillows at the head, and a pair of Lisa's well-worn, well-loved hemp sandals at the base. After a minute, I stopped staring at the place where Lisa's breath had faded and ceased, and stopped, and died, and I moved my eyes away. The room was clean and empty. Everything of hers was gone. I looked at the few things of mine that remained. The red movie poster, Antonioni's blow-up, Art and Abandon becoming Death and Desire, and the wooden horse head on the window sill, my belts, strung on a suit stand in the corner, the sword, in 2 pieces in the wall unit, and a few books. And it was all there was of me in the apartment. Without Lisa's flowers and paintings and colored sarongs, the place we'd called home was cold and alone. What is civilization? Idris once remarked. It's a woman, free to live as she wants. There is a picture of her, in death, on that bed, Didier said, standing in the doorway. It is in the police report. Do you want to see it? No thanks. I thought it might console you, he said. She looked very, very peaceful. As if she simply went to sleep, forever. We listened to the silence, echoing off the walls in our hearts. Just the thought of that picture, of her dead sleep, made my stomach churn with dread. You are not safe, I am afraid, Lynn, Didier said. The police are very hot for you. If they come to know that you have returned to Bombay, they will come here, looking for you. He was right. Right enough to shake me awake. Give me a hand, I said, beginning to wrestle the heavy chest of drawers away from the wall. We pushed the chest wide enough to expose the false back panel. It looked untouched. I released the cover. Have you got a man you can trust to hold my guns? A lot of money, some passports and half a key of the best Kashmiri that ever rolled down the Himalayas? Yes, for 10%. Of the money only? Of the money. Done. Call him here. I must insist that he brings something to drink with him, Lynn. Do you know how many hours it has been since I last made contact with alcohol? You drank from your flask 3 minutes ago. The flask, he sighed, genius to child, does not count. Shall I tell him to bring food, as well? I don't want any food. Good. Food is for people who don't have the courage to take drugs. And food kills half of the alcohol effect. There was a test done on a drunken mouse, once, or perhaps it was a drunken rat. Just call him, Didier. I stuffed a few bundles of rupees in one inside pocket of my denim vest, and a bundle of US dollars in the other. I cut a piece off the Kashmiri key, and put the rest back in the compartment. I strapped on my knives in their scabbards. After snapping the cover in place, I shoved the chest against the wall again, in case someone other than Didier's man entered the apartment. Didier was in the open kitchen, searching through the cupboards. Not even cooking sherry, he muttered, and then he saw me and smiled. My man, Tito, will be here in half an hour. How are you, my friend? Not good, okay, I said absently. I was looking at the refrigerator. The photographs that Lisa had taped to the door, photographs of her that she'd asked me to take, were gone. Strips of clear tape remained, framing empty spaces. She'd insisted on tape instead of magnets. I hate magnets, she said. They're such treacherous things. Her parents, Didier said, gathered everything that was hers and took it with them. There were many tears. I went to the bathroom and washed my face with cold water. It didn't work. I fell forward on my knees at the toilet and emptied every dark, acid thing that was inside me. Didier found me and did the right guy thing. He backed away and left me in pieces. I washed up again and looked into the mirror. A photo that Lisa had pushed in the top of the mirror frame had been torn away. Lisa's face had been ripped from the picture, and only my foolish, smiling face remained. I took it down, tore it up and threw it in the bin. Sitting in the living room, Didier and I drank strong, black coffee and smoked strong, black Kashmiri. It was Lisa's stash, her perfect, heavenly high, only for the most special occasions, which was why I'd had to hide it with my things. And when the brandy and the food arrived, with Tito, we drank a toast, with Lisa, to the loved. Tito helped me shove the heavy chest away from the wall again. Nice, he said, when he saw the guns, passports and money. 10%. Done. He began to stuff the bundles into a sack. It was my safety net in the island city, the stake I was bringing to the table as a partner with Didier. Everything I owned that wasn't in my pockets, or my pack. Tito was about to tie the sack closed, but I stopped him. Wait a minute. There was a place I hadn't looked, and that the police might have overlooked. There was a gas-fired hot water heater in a closet. Lisa had made a shelf on top of the heater to dry out some tripping mushrooms, which a friend had brought from Germany. I opened the door and searched on top of the panel. There was a shoebox in the back. I saw the words "Reasons Why" written on the end panel. I pulled it toward me, feeling around inside, and my hand shivered through keepsakes and pictures as if through reeds in a pond. They were simple things. A thin, silver scarf she'd worn the first time we met, a wind-up child's toy, a brass Zippo lighter that Didier had given to us as a housewarming present, and that she couldn't bear to let me use, for fear that I might lose it, which I would have done, a dog whistle that she used whenever we walked on Marine Drive, so she could get the attention of every dog she passed, a paperweight I'd made for her from silver rings, and a scatter of stones, shells, pictures, amulets and coins. It was a box of nothings, bits of stuff that had no value or meaning for anyone else in the world. And isn't that love, Lisa, I thought, looking at the box of charms. When it means nothing to anybody else, and it means everything to us, isn't that love? Didn't we love, Lisa? Didn't we love? I put the box in Tito's sack along with the pieces of Kotterbai's sword and the pair of Lisa's hemp sandals. He tied it tightly and slung it over his shoulder. What's your family name? I asked him. I was studying his face. It was an important face. He had all my worldly goods in his hands, and we'd known each other 14 minutes. I wanted to recognize that face, no matter how it changed. Deshpande, he said. Take care of our percentages, Mr. Deshpande. No tension, he laughed. We shook hands. He nodded to Didier and trotted down the stairs. So, how do we kill him? Didier asked, pouring a measure of brandy after Tito left. Kill who? Concannon, of course. I don't want to kill Concannon. I want to find him and make him tell me who bought that dope off him and gave it to Lisa. I would recommend that we do both, he mused. I need to talk to Naveen, I said. Can you call him and set it up? I have to report to Sanjay early in the afternoon. Tell Naveen I'll meet him at 5 at Afghan Church if he can make it. Certainly. Do you know when Abdullah returns? No. You need him now, inside the company. I know. I looked around the room and into the bedroom beyond. I'm gonna sleep here tonight. Surely not? Didier protested. It is not secure. I know a place near Metro. The manager has a splendid collection of manias and obsessions. You will love him. Let me take you there now. I'm gonna sleep here. You, my friend, are, he began, but then laughed. Well, if there is no persuading you, then Didier will sleep in this place of such sadness and sorrow with you. You don't have to, Didier insists, but on the couch, of course. And thank my foresight in asking Tito to bring 2 bottles. I slept on the floor, beside Lisa's bed, with the pillow that was hers. Didier slept like a child, his arms and legs flung wide on the couch. Morning stumbled into a cold breakfast of the food I couldn't eat the night before, and brandy with a dash of coffee in it. We cleaned the kitchen, and Didier joined me at the door of the apartment that he'd visited so often. That place where love had laughed for the last time. I'm ashamed, he said softly. I'm so ashamed, Lynn. Shame is the past. If it isn't now, it soon will be. He thought for a moment. That's one of Carla's, isn't it? Of course. We both thought, for a while. When you see her, Didier. No, I was going to say, when you see Carla, be gentle with her. I'll talk nice to Carla. I always talk nice to Carla. I want to ask her how come she was the one who found Lisa's body. You just get all those eyes and ears of yours on Concannon, Didier. And set it up for me with Naveen. Are we good? I was trying to move, trying to escape from the cage of sorrow, and Didier knew it. We stood in silence for a while, staring at the empty rooms, before he spoke. I am not good. Okay, my friend. Shall we? I mean, if you will permit it, I would like to say some words, for Lisa, here at this door that we will never open again. Nice idea. Go ahead. Lisa, we loved you, and you knew that, in your heart. We loved your smile, and your free mind, and your habit of dancing for no reason, and your cheating at charades, and the way you loved us all, every time you saw us. But most of all, we loved your sincerity. You never faked it, Lisa, as you Americans say. You were always the real person. If there is any essence of your spirit lingering here, come into our hearts, now, and stay with us, when we leave this place where you left us, so that we can carry you inside us, and always love you. Didier, I said, after a while. Thank you. That was really nicely put. Of course, he replied, pulling me through the door, and closing it for the last time. If you could only hear the words that I have prepared for you, my dear friend. You already wrote lines for when I'm dead? I asked, taking the stairs. Didier should not be caught on the hop, as they say. Especially if it concerns a beloved friend. I guess not. Have you composed farewells for all your beloved friends? No, Lynn, he said, as we reached the courtyard of the building. Only you. I have only written such words for you. What I said just now for Lisa, it was from my heart. And you, my still living friend, are attracting interest from bookmakers, ready to give odds on your survival outside the Sanjay company. I looked back at the apartment building. Without her body to see dead, and believe dead, the apartment we'd shared was all I had of her, and what we were. It had been a light, happy place for both of us, most of the time. But I knew that for me alone, every time I saw it would be a conversation with the ghost of God. Chapter 36. It was harder to get into Ranjit's media headquarters than it was to break out of prison. After 3 levels of security, each one checking my visitor tag and none checking my medal, I finally reached his private secretary. The name is Shantaram, I said, for the 4th time. It's a private and personal matter. She picked up a phone, spoke the mantra, and then opened the door. Ranjit rose from his leather chair, extending his hand over the desk. The secretary left, closing the door. Sit down, I said. What do you? All that security, and no one thought to ask me if I was carrying a gun. A gun? He gasped. Sit down. He sat down, his hands floating on the glass-topped desk. Where's Carla? Carla? You're here about Carla? Where's Carla? Why? Pick up the phone. What? Pick up the phone, and call Carla. Why don't you call her? I don't like phones. And I don't need one, because I can make you call her for me. You see that, right? See, what? Call Carla. Call Carla. You call me, Carla's voice said from behind me, and I come. She was sitting in an armchair in a corner of the large office. Potted palms beside her chair had hidden her from sight. She seemed angry and very glad to see me. I'd walked into a fight they'd been having. Hello, Carla. In the corner for bad behavior? Ranjit and I have a new agreement, she said, lighting a cigarette, shafts of light and dark on her face through the palm leaves. If we find ourselves in the same room, we sit as far apart as we can. Are you done here? I asked, staring into Queens. Ranjit laughed. I faced him. The laugh stopped so quickly that he almost choked on it. What are you laughing at? I really have no idea. He was terrified. It didn't make sense. Sure, I'd mentioned a gun, but I wasn't carrying one, and Carla was there, and she was. He was safe, but he was sweating hard. You know that expression, where you tell someone they look like they've seen a ghost? I suppose, he replied. Well, you look like the ghost. The ghost? Whose ghost? What's wrong with you? You said you had a gun. He was shaking. I said that no one thought to ask me if I was carrying a gun. I didn't say I had one. Well, yes, I mean, no. Is there anything you want to tell me, Ranjit? No, he said quickly. Nothing at all. What do you know about Lisa's death? Nothing. Nothing. The poor girl. A tragic accident. That is, I mean, nothing at all. Goodbye, Ranjit, and please don't wait up, Carla said, standing and walking to the door. I opened the door for her and we left the office. Ranjit was still sitting in his chair, his hands splayed on the desk as if he was trying to stop it floating away. When the elevator doors closed, she took out a flask, drank a sip, closed it and turned to me, all queens. Do you think I had something to do with her death? What? The cops did. Worked me over pretty good. Only left bruises where I won't show. I felt my stomach drop. Anger filled the empty inside. Lightning Dilip? He sends his regards, she said. The doors opened on a small crowd in the lobby. She stopped me in the doorway, blocking the people. Our faces were inches apart. I didn't have anything to do with it, she said. I would never hurt Lisa. Or let anyone else hurt her. Of course not, I replied, but she was already gone. I made my way to the desk, hurled the visitor tag across the counter, and bounced through people until I found Carla, unruffled, a little way from the front entrance. We rode to the Bandra sea face. She clung to my back, her face pressed into me, a ready-to-die passenger. I could have gone to a dozen places closer, but I needed to ride. When we stopped, near the sea, I was as calm as the waves on the bay. We walked that little smile of the coast in the midday heat, but we were comfortable. Two foreigners who'd learned to love a sun-blessed city. We had a date, she said, as we walked. We had a date? No. I thought about it. You and Lisa had a date? Yeah. We walked on for a while, and then I got it. You mean, you and Lisa had a date? Kind of. Kind of? Kind of. There's no kind of date. There was always this thing between us, you know. A thing, huh? On her side, sure. And this thing took you there that night? She said she wanted to have a little booze, and a lot of fun, or a lot of booze, and a little fun. I'm not understanding this. It was her plan. What plan? I said I'd go 3 or 4 drinks with her, and see what happened after that. She said you were cool with it. Really? Yeah, she frowned. We walked on a few more steps in silence, our shadows clinging to us, hiding from the heat. And with you, and the date? Was that serious? Not for me, she smiled, and then frowned her gaze at our feet. Lisa was a flirt. She couldn't help herself. I played along, because she liked it when I did. I'm sorry, Carla. I'm sorry I wasn't here to stop this, and to stop you being the one to find her. If I could take that from you, I would. The only beauty the past has is that it can't be changed. There was nothing you could have done, and there's nothing you can do now. It must have been so hard, finding her. The door was open, she said, staring at her feet. She was on the bed. I thought she was asleep. Then I saw how still she was, and the bag of pills. I shook her, but she was gone. Cold. I got the watchman to call the ambulance and the cops, but she was gone, Lynn. She was long gone, poor baby. I put my arm around her, and she settled into me, as softly as married. Who was with her? I asked. Who gave her the stuff? I don't know, yet. I've been trying to find out, but I haven't mixed in those circles for a while. When the cops worked you over, did they let anything slip? Only that they want your ass pretty bad, she said. That came in clear as a boot on the spine. And I could see their point. Let's face it, you vanish from the city, and your girlfriend dies. Or was it the other way around? Wait a minute, I asked, pulling my arm away from her to look into her eyes. You can't think I'd hurt Lisa? You can't think that. She laughed. It was the first time she'd laughed since I'd seen her in Ranjit's office, sitting behind the plants. It's good to see you laugh, Carla. It's the first time since I found her. I've been uncomfortably numb for a while, and hazing purple most of the time. Of course you wouldn't hurt her. I wouldn't love you if you could. She turned to the sea, the wind clearing her face for the sun. The breeze made lines of seafoam music and frothy notes on parallel waves in the mouth of the bay. Carla, what the hell happened? What do you think happened? I told you, I don't know yet. Where the fuck were you, anyway? Where was I? Click clack. Severed head. Blue hijab. I had a job. Have you heard anything from Abdullah? No, but he has my number, and he always calls me when he gets back to town. Abdullah has your number? Of course. I don't have your number. You don't use phones, Shantaram. That's not the point. And the point is? Well, I'm not going back to Ranjit, she said quickly, not smiling. What? I mean, good, but what? I'm already checked in at the Taj. The Taj? My things will arrive by evening. You're not going home, to Ranjit? Let me tell you, if you're gonna make a move, Shantaram, this is your time. The worst part of being in love with a woman who's smarter than you are, is that you can't stop coming back for more, which, as it happens, is also the best part. What did you tell me, once, she asked, not wanting an answer, about before and after.
Age.
After just started, Lynn. After started today. You can't go home. I won't go home. The only question is, are you in it with me, or in it without me? I felt stupid not understanding what she was telling me, and looking back now, I guess I was. But I didn't know what decisions she'd made, or why she was telling me then. Seconds fell, pollen in the wind. It was everything. It was nothing. We just lost Lisa, I said. We just lost Lisa. Lisa Wood. She cut herself off, laughed again, and gave me about 8 unhappy queens. Jesus, she said, am I, actually, trying to talk you into coming with me? Well, fuck you, she said. Fuck, me? She stood quickly and hailed a taxi. Wait a minute, Carla. She got in the cab and drove away. I sprinted to the bike and rode too fast and too loose until I found her cab. I followed her all the way back to the Taj Hotel, riding around her cab and trying to catch her eye. She never turned to look. I parked the bike and watched her climb the wide steps and walk into the hotel. I went to the reservations desk and left a note for her. I rode away from the proud galleon of the Taj Hotel through rivers of traffic, and questioned every man or woman I could still trust about Concannon. I checked gambling dens, opium parlors, country liquor bars, hash hangouts and numbers racket corners. I didn't learn much, but street voices confirmed that Concannon was running a heroin franchise for the Scorpion Company. Everyone called them the Scorpion Company, rather than the Scorpion Gang. Everyone recognized their status as a full mafia company. I had to report to Sanjay. I had a standing appointment for 2 in the afternoon on the day after my return from Sri Lanka, whatever the date. No doubt, Sanjay had expected me to report sooner. He wouldn't be in a good mood. But that was okay. Since the death of his friend Salman, Sanjay didn't have a good mood. I parked the bike in a row of motorcycles outside KC College. I gave the parking attendant a 100-rupee note, and asked him to keep his eyes open for dangerous types. They're college kids, he said in Hindi. They're all dangerous. Who knows what they'll do next? More dangerous than the kids are. Oh, okay. You got it, he winked. I walked the half-block to Sanjay's mansion, and rang the bell. An armed Afghan guard opened the door, recognized me and ushered me inside. I found Sanjay in the breakfast room, at the end of the house. A row of windows looked out on a distressed garden, bound by high walls. Sanjay was in his pajamas and a dark blue dressing gown with a monogrammed pocket. A breakfast big enough for 3 big henchmen covered the table, but Sanjay was drinking tea and smoking a cigarette. There was only one chair in the room, and Sanjay didn't rise from it. Good work, he said, looking me up and down. But then, you always did good work, didn't you? Your money, for this job, will be delivered to you. All your things from the passport factory have been removed. They're in that red case, near the front door. That leaves only goodbye. So, goodbye. How was the mission compromised? Why did I come home early? He stubbed out the cigarette, took a sip of tea, placed the cup very delicately on the saucer and leaned back in the chair. You know why I'm glad to see you go, Lynn? He asked. Because you think I'm made for better things? He laughed. I'd known him for years, but I'd never heard that laugh before. It must have been one he saved for the right goodbye. Then he stopped laughing. Because, you're not a team player, he said grimly, and you never will be. You're a black sheep. Look around you. Everyone belongs to something or someone. You're the odd man out. You don't belong anywhere. You don't belong to anyone. And now, you don't belong here. Was it because Lisa died? Is that why you had a man at the airport? Like I said, you're not a team player. There was no way to know how you'd react. You were in Madras when it happened. When did you know? 5 minutes after the cops, of course. But you had already started, and the job was too important to stop. 5 minutes? You never use the phone, so I knew there was a good chance you wouldn't come to know about it. It was my decision to keep it quiet until the job was complete, and it was my decision to have contacts for you, every step of the way. Your decision. Yes. If you don't like it, well, you know, there's always the fuck you option. You didn't tell me that my girlfriend died. You're the one who wanted to keep her out of the family. It was your choice that we never met her, when we know the mothers, sisters and wives of every brother in the company. I looked at him, angry enough to fight him. My heart was thumping tribal music. I wondered how many times leaders lived through murderous seconds like those, without ever knowing that death, himself, had been lured into the room on a false alarm. You still have a faint shadow of my protection, Sanjay said. It covers you, because it would not look well for me, if a former employee was killed in the first 2 weeks that he left my service. But the clock is ticking. Don't make me brush that shadow from your back sooner. Now, get the fuck out of here, and let me finish my breakfast in peace. I opened the door and was about to leave, but he spoke again. They always speak again. They always want the last word, even when they already had it. I'm sorry about your girl, he said. It's a sad business. Must be hell for her family. But don't let your feelings push you into hasty action. The company will let you burn, the next time you fuck up. I left the mansion and rode to the food stands for office workers at Nariman Point. I was still angry and hungry. Standing with dozens of others, I ate hot bread rolls, filled with eggs, fried potatoes and spiced vegetables, and drank a pint of milk. I'd been skipping meals and ducking sleep. I had to work out. I had to stay sharp. Every street guy in the South would know within hours that I was officially out of the company. There were a few, with grudges, who'd only held back because I was a company man. They could come out snapping when they knew I was a lone wolf. Half an hour's ride away on that cold river of truth was a gym in Worli. Some abandoned mill complexes had been transformed into beauty parlors and health centers. A retired gangster from the Sanjay company, named Comanche, had set up a gym there as his home and place of business. He was a friend, a stand-up gangster, and we'd fought with knives against rival gangs together, twice, and been cut both times. That's stuff you don't forget. Comanche was a true independent, allowing members of any mafia company to exercise in his gym, and cops as well, so long as no one said a word against the Sanjay company. I stripped to jeans and boots, and pushed weight for an hour. Half an hour of shadow boxing gave me a cool down. The kids in the gym, all local and poor, were shy at first, although doing the young manhood thing of making sure I clearly understood they weren't afraid. When they saw that I was okay, they joined in the shadow boxing with me, training hard. Showered, dressed and refreshed, I looked in the spotted mirror. My eyes were bright and clear. Calm settled on me like flakes of autumn. When all else fails, the sign above the mirror said, "Steal it out." You need a lat machine, I said to Comanche, passing him enough money to buy a new lat machine. Comanche looked at the money. That was an expensive training session, he said, frowning. Loved every minute of it. But put a little window in there, yar. If someone ever forces me to imagine what a snake's asshole smells like, I now know where to start. Fuck you, he laughed. Seriously, what's the money for? I'm hoping you'll consider it a membership fee. But company men are free. You know that. I'm not with the company anymore, Comanche. I'm freelance, now. I hadn't said it to anyone but a close friend, and after so long in the Brotherhood it sounded strange, even in my own ears. What? I'm out, Comanche. But, Lin, it's okay. Sanjay's good with it. Happy, in fact. Sanjay's good with it? I just came from there, man. He's good with it. He is? My word. Okay. But, I'll need a new place to train, now that I can't use the company gym. So, how about it? Will you have me as a member? He was confused and afraid, but he was a friend, and he trusted me. His face gradually softened, and he extended his hand. Juror, he said, shaking hands. You're welcome here, but I have to say, you'd be wiser to leave Bombay, man, under the circumstances. Maybe, brother, I said, walking away. But would she let me go? Chapter 37. Carla will be pleased to accept the company of Shantaram. At 8 p.m., in her suite. It was written in her hand. The precise, fluent script I liked more than any other calligraphic style I'd ever seen. I wanted to keep it, but I was trading punches with a dirty world. If an enemy put his fingers on the note, I'd want to beat him for it. I sat on the bike, burned the note, and then rode slowly toward Afghan Church to meet with Naveen. I parked the bike behind a nearby bus stand. When I was with the Sanjay Company, I parked on any footpath in town. As a freelancer, I parked my bike out of sight. The commemoration nave in the church featured dusty flags and pennants, with stone inscriptions to soldiers lost in 2 Afghan wars. It was a military church and a battle chapel, erected as a monument to the fallen. There were still grooves in the pews for unforgotten soldiers to rest their rifles when they prayed, before and after obeying the order to kill Afghans, a people whose language they couldn't speak and whose culture they couldn't understand. The mournful church was almost empty. An elderly lady was sitting in a rear pew, reading a novel. A man and a boy knelt on the approach to the altar. The circle of stained glass above the altar seemed to float above their heads. Naveen Adair was examining the brass eagle supporting the Bible stand. He was young, but confident. His hands were behind his back, respectfully, but his step was strong as he paced back and forth. A young man, fully inhabiting the space of his life. He saw me watching him, and followed me to the deserted garden behind the church. We sat beneath a tree, on a support made of stone and cement. It was quiet. The fading light of evening became the stained glass light of the altar window above our heads, lighting the dark garden below with church light. I'm so sorry about Lisa, man, he said. Me, too. Naveen, gimme a minute, will you? I had to be quiet, for a minute. I had to think, for a minute. I hadn't stopped to think. And now that I'd stopped to think, I was thinking. Lisa, what did you say, Naveen? And the police report, that's what we know, so far, Naveen said. I hadn't heard any of it but the last words. Sorry, Naveen. I'm not really with it. You'll have to run that by me again. He smiled at me, a good friend, feeling bad. Okay. But, listen, stand up first. Come again? Stand up, man. What for? Stand up, for fuck's sake. He stood up, pulling me up with him. Give me a hug, he said. No, I'm good. All the more reason. Come on, give me a hug. I'm really, really good. Fuck it, man, your girlfriend died a week ago. Give me a hug, yar. Naveen. Either you hug the Indian in me, or you fight the Irishman in me, he said. There's no other way, in a situation like this. He was holding his arms out. There was no other way. He hugged me like a brother, like my brother in Australia, and it was bad. Let it go, he said, as my tears fell on his shoulder. Let it go. Tears, in a garden of stained light. Tears on the shoulder of a volunteer brother. Fuck you, Naveen. Let it go. I let it go, and then I let him go. You feel better? Naveen asked. Fuck you, Naveen. And yeah, I do. We sat down again, and he told me the little that he knew. It didn't add much. Where's Concannon running the dope gig? I don't know, he said, smiling for the first time. Do you want him? I want to talk to him. Talk? Talk, then listen, while he tells me who went with him to Lisa's that night. You don't think it was Concannon who gave Lisa the drugs? He left, according to the watchman, after 15 minutes. The second man was there for almost an hour. I want to know who the second man was. Okay, I'll get on it. The watchman gave me the number of the black car they came in that night, I said, handing him the number I'd jotted down. If you could detective out the owner for me, it would help. I'll have the owner for you tomorrow, but it might not help. Lots of people have cars registered under other people's names. Didier set up a place for me at the Amritsar Hotel on Metro. You can leave a message there, or I'll be at Kyani's tomorrow, between 1 and 2. Okay? You left your place? I did, and I'm not going back. Where are you going now? I have to meet Carla at 8. I'm gonna buy a shirt and check in at the Amritsar. What are you doing? I have to pick up Diva at 7:30. I'm free till then. Mind if I come along? I'd be glad of the company. We rolled the bike out from behind the bus stop. I kicked the engine happy, and he climbed on behind me. I've been learning how to ride, he said. I've got my eye on this tricked out vintage 350. It's damn cool and really fast. And the Racer Boys have been teaching me how to stunt ride. The Racer Boys, huh? Yeah, rich kids on imported Japanese bikes. They're Diva's friends. And good riders. Would you like me to show you what I can do on your bike? Naveen, don't ever talk about my motorcycle that way again. Got it, he laughed. But just wait till you see mine. We rode along Fashion Street, where a stallholder in a drive-by shirt shop brought a new shirt and a couple of t-shirts to the bike, and then we rolled on to the metro junction. I parked the bike in an alleyway behind the hotel's facade, which passed beneath an arch, connecting the second to fourth floors of the whole block. The Amritsar was in a curved building that faced the junction like a cliff face, rising from Pelagian traffic swirling around the vast intersection. At ground level, there were sporting goods shops, office supply outlets, a music store, and Kayani's restaurant, served by the alley behind the hotel's facade. At the second floor and up, the whole building was connected by a network of corridors and hidden stairways, leading from shuttered street balconies to the last private apartment, at the end of a city block. If you knew your way, you could be in another postal code, in the same building, while the cops or other bad guys were still banging on the door. It was rumored that the Amritsar had 21 exits. I was happy with 3. The first thing that a man on the run does in any new place is find the exits. Before I went to the desk, I explored the building with Naveen. I found 3 suitable hasty exits, leading to 3 different places on surrounding streets. Nice. When Naveen and I reached the reception desk, we found Didier, rolling dice with the hotel manager. He rose to hug me. Lynn, he whispered in the hug. I am about to win a discount on your rent, before you are even a registered guest. Let's pay the rent first, I whispered back, and you can win the discount later. Shrewd, he said, pulling apart again. I checked in with one of my false passports, and took a look at my new rooms. There was a large living room, with a bedroom and bathroom leading from it through high, wooden doors. A kitchenette filled one corner alcove. At the far end of the room there was an archway of French doors, leading to a shadowed balcony. I walked through, opened the shutters, and looked out at the busy junction below. The view was superb. A giant child's toy, wound up and whirling through its cycle of light, sound and movement. Beyond were the trees of the Bombay Gymkhana, their leafy shadows making a tunnel of the road. I looked around me and saw that there were only short, flimsy partitions between my balcony and the 2 sets of rooms beside it. The rooms looked deserted. The hotel manager was standing beside me. Anyone in the next rooms? I asked. Not at the moment, but we've got 2 parties coming tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes, I said in Hindi. We're here now, and we'd like to take all 3 of these front-facing suites for a year, cash in advance. Suites? The manager and Didier said, at the same time. Suites, I said. All 3. From tonight. A year in advance. Are we good? Hold on a minute, the manager said. I just have to check with my greed. He paused, for a bit, with a thinking face, and then made up his mind. What do you know, he said, we're suddenly unbooked. You've got to like a man who anthropomorphizes his own greed. At the very least, it's a conversation. What's your name, sir? Jaswant, he said. Jaswant Singh. And how shall I call you, sir? Just call me Baba. Is that okay? Sure. Baba. No problem. A year, you said? In advance? I paid the money, and he left us alone to go through the rooms. We took down the temporary barriers between balconies, and walked all the way around, from hotel room to hotel room. Why do you need 3 of these rooms, Lynn? I refuse to call them suites. The walls at the ends of these balconies are sealed, Didier. If I have all 3 suites to myself, nobody can sneak up that way. I see, he said. But I only need 2 of them. The other one is for you, Naveen, if you want it. For me? Naveen asked. You haven't got an office yet, have you? No, I work from my apartment. Well, Now you have an office, detective, if you want it. He looked at Didier, who shrugged a smile. This just occurred to you now? Naveen asked. Yeah, because you have an extra room? Yeah, I love it. You're on, Naveen said, shaking my hand. Nice to have you at the other end of the balcony. Didier joined us, placing his hands on ours. This is the beginning of something very shit, Naveen said, breaking away. She'll kill me. Who will kill a detective? Didier demanded. Diva. If I don't pick the spoiled brat up on time, she'll give me hell for 2 days. I have to run. I'll grab a key on the way out, Lynn. The room on the right, okay with you? It was exactly the room that I wanted him to take. You got it, Naveen. You're going to meet Carla? Didier asked me, as we watched him leave. At 8. I have some things to do, my friend, so I will leave now. But I will be available for you later, and I will wait in the Taj for some time, if I discover any news. Thanks, Didier. It is nothing. No, I mean it. The owner of this building is your friend, and this is one of your areas, because the local Don is your friend, and that's why I'm safe here. Thanks, for everything. I love you, Lynn. Please, do not suffer that I say it. We French have no chains on the heart. I love you. We will solve the mystery of sad, sweet Lisa, and then we will march on. He left, and I stood in each of the strange, new rooms I just rented for a year, on instinct. It was my first home, after the home I'd made with Lisa. I was trying to live again, trying to plant a new tree in a new place. I walked back to the balcony, folded my arms on the rail and watched the wheel of lights, red, yellow, white, making slow fireworks where 5 avenues met and dispersed. A crow landed on my balcony for a moment, inspected me, ruffled its feathers and flew away. A group of teenagers crossed with the signal, laughing and happy, on their way to the budget shops on Fashion Street. A distant temple bell sounded, followed by chanting. Then the azan rang out from somewhere nearby, clear and beautifully sung. Is this the place? I asked myself. I wanted a place. Any place. I wanted a home. Is this where I find it? I wanted connection. I wanted to give everything I had to one love, and be loved in return. Is it here? I stared at the crossroad, hoping for an answer, as white, red and yellow lights made dragons from weaving lines of cars. Chapter 38. I was early, and so were the stars arriving at the Taj in limousines for a gala to promote a new movie. I parked the bike beneath a palm tree, across from the hotel, waiting for snail minutes to make the long creep to 8 in my appointment with Carla. Through the wide doors of the lobby I saw the sponsor wall, with special guests posing for photographs in front of brand names that had paid them by the second. Flash, flash, turn this way, turn that way. The mug shots of the privileged, caught in the act. The limousines stopped, the photographers hurried to other headlines, and the sponsor wall was dismantled. The spacious, gracious lobby, where great thinkers had discussed great ideas on rainy Bombay afternoons, for rainy decades, was barren and businesslike again. To hell with early. I walked around the hotel to a back door, guarded by a man I knew, and climbed the promenade stairs to Carla's door. I knocked, and she opened it. Her feet were bare. She wore a black silk lounging suit. It was trousers and top all in one, sleeveless, with zip pockets and a zip front. Her hair was tied up in a knot behind her head. There was a thin, silver letter opener, in the shape of a Damascene sword keeping the knot together. Carla, you're early, she said, smiling but not inviting me in. I'm always early or late. That's a talent, for a man in your line of not working. You want to come in? Sure. Rish, she called, over her shoulder. Our interview is over. She pushed the door wide, and I saw Rish, one of Lisa's partners at the gallery. He rushed forward. I'm so sorry, Lynn, he said, holding my hand in both of his. It's a terrible shock, dear Lisa, a terrible loss. I'm just beside myself with grief. He squeezed past Carla, sidestepped me and scuttled away down the corridor. It was a long corridor. A man who's beside himself, Carla said, as Rish scuttled, usually has a fool for company. Come in, Shantaram. It's been a long day. She walked back into the suite and sat on the window seat couch. Make me a drink, please, she said, when I'd closed and locked the door. I love it when I don't make the drink. What'll it be? I'll have a Happy Mary. A Happy Mary? It's a Bloody Mary without the red corpuscles. And rocks. Lots of rocks. I made the drinks and brought them to sit with her. Shall we toast? She asked. To running away angry? I suggested. She laughed. How about to old times, Shantaram? To fallen friends, I countered. To fallen friends, she agreed, clashing glasses with me. You've gotta snap out of it, she said, taking a long sip of her drink before putting it down. I'm okay. Bullshit. I just gave you 4 leads, fool, happy, blood, and rock, and you didn't go for any of them. That's not you. That's not you and me. You and me? She saw my mind working and smiled. Why are you so determined to find out who gave Lisa the dope? Aren't you? She picked up her glass again, studied it for a while, drank off a coal miner's finger, and turned all the queens on me. If I find out who did it, or if you do, I'll probably want to kill whoever it is. It's the kind of true that makes people kill people. You really want to go there? I just want to find out what happened to Lisa, that's all. I owe her that, Carla. She put her palms on her thighs, let out a gasp of air, and quickly stood up. She crossed the room to the escritoire, opened her handbag, and took out a brass cigarette case exactly like Didier's. With her back to me, she lit a joint and smoked it doggedly. I didn't think I'd need this, tonight, she muttered, between deep breaths. My eyes moved down her body, bowing to her. Her silhouette, wrapped in black. Love was shouting inside me. It was either this, Carla said, her back still turned to me, or breaking a bottle over your head. Right, what was that? She stubbed out the joint, took 2 more joints from the case, snapped it shut, dropped it into her handbag and returned to the couch. Here, she said, shoving the 2 joints at me. Catch up, I'm kinda high already. Fuck you, Shantaram. Smoke the fucking joints. Okay, I smoked. Every time I made to say something, she pushed the joint at me again gently. You know, I said, when she let me, that's twice you've said fuck you to me, in the same day. If it'll make you feel any better, she drawled, say fuck you to me, right now. No, come on, get it off your chest. You'll feel better. Say fuck you, Carla. Say stop fucking with me, Carla. Go on. Try it. Fuck you, Carla. I looked at her. I can't, I said. I bet you can, if you try. Can I say fuck you to a sunset? Can I say fuck you to a galaxy? She smiled at me again, but her eyes were fierce. I had no idea what she was thinking. Look, I said, let's get something straight. I just want to know what happened to Lisa. I want some kind of resolution, for Lisa and for us. Don't you see that? It's a steep slide from resolution to retribution, she said. And a lot of people rush off that cliff. I'm not the cliff rusher type. She laughed. I know everything about you, Lynn. Everything? Pretty much. You do, huh? Test me, she purred. I laughed and then realized that she wasn't kidding. Really? Smoke the fucking joint, she said. I smoked. Favorite color, she began, blue, with green. Leaves against the sky. Damn. Okay, favorite season? Monsoon. Favorite Hollywood movie, Casablanca. Favorite Bollywood movie, Prem Kaidi. Favorite food, gelato. Favorite Hindi song, Ye Duniya Ye Mehfil. Favorite motorcycle, your current motorcycle. Blessings be upon her, your favorite perfume. Yours, I said, holding up my hands in surrender. My favorite perfume is yours. You're damn good. Of course I am. I'm born for you, and you're born for me. We both know that. A breeze from the sea ruffled through the room, announcing itself with a flourish of sheer, silk curtains. It suddenly occurred to me that I'd been in the neighboring suite, years before, visiting Lisa. Am I mad? Or was it just stupid not to say the words, not to tell Carla the truth? That I didn't understand her relationship with Ranjit, that I hadn't found the way to open the fist my life had closed over memories of Lisa living, and thoughts of her dead. I didn't want to be with Carla wreathed in grief. I wanted to be free, to be hers alone. And that wasn't going to be soon. Lisa was, I began. Shut up, she said. I shut up. She lit the second joint, and passed it to me. She padded over to the small bar, grabbed a chunk of cubes from the bucket, and 3/4 filled a new glass. You're supposed to put the ice in first, she said, pouring vodka slowly over the cubes, and add the Happy Mary with attention. She took a sip. Ah, she sighed. That's better. She thought about things for a while. It's been a damn long day, she said to the ceiling. What happened with Ranjit, Carla? She flashed a look from the angry part of the feminine divine. My heart got colder in my chest. She was magnificent. What did I say? She grit her teeth, as if putting them on display. You finally peer through your shawl of sorrows to ask about me and what I'm going through. It's moments like these, Lynn, that give fuck you such long legs. Wait a minute. I didn't ask you about Ranjit before, and about why you left him, because I thought it was obvious. He's a prick. I just wanted to know if there was anything specific. Did he threaten you? She laughed, pretty hard, and put the glass down. She came to stand in front of me. Stand up, Shantaram, she said. I stood up. She put her fingers into the front of my jeans, and curled them around my belt. She pulled me toward her. Sometimes, she said, not smiling, I just don't know what to do with you. I had a few suggestions, but I didn't get to make them. She shoved me back on the window seat and sat down beside me. It's a week, for us, since Lisa died, she said, but it's only yesterday, for you. I get that. We all get that. And it's freaking you out that we don't seem to be getting how important this is to you. Exactly. Shut up. Kiss me. What? Kiss me. She put her hand behind my neck and drew our lips into a soft, brief kiss, then pushed me away again. Look, this isn't about Ranjit, and it isn't about Lisa. I know your heart can't let go of this, because I know you, and I love you. You love me? Didn't I just say it, before? I'm born for you, and you're born for me. I knew it the first second I saw you again, on the mountain. But I also know all your weaknesses. We've got a couple of them in common, which is always a good start to any relationship. But relationship? What are we talking about here, Shantaram, if it isn't us? Back to your weaknesses. You're my only weakness, Carla. I'm your strength. More than half of it at the moment, it seems to me. Your weaknesses are that you whip yourself with guilt and smear yourself with shame. I've been waiting for you to evolve, grow up, and grow out of it. Well, you've made progress, she said, stopping me with a raised hand. No doubt about that, but you're not there yet. You've got self-esteem issues. Well deserved. Funny. But it's okay. Self-esteem issues? Lightweight stuff. Nothing we can't fix. I'm homicidal. Nobody's perfect. But Lisa's gone, and no amount of self-flagellation will bring her back. If it would, I'd save you the trouble and flog you myself. I might anyway, if you don't snap out of it. Okay, so I lost the thread, there. Let Lisa go, at least around me. I just told you that I love you. I've never said that to any other man. If you weren't so numb with guilt, you'd react. I kissed her with everything I had, everything I was, and everything I wanted. That's better, she said, pushing me away again gently. Right now, I can wait for my lover, but I need my friend while I wait. There's too much happening. I need you to catch up, Shantaram, and get with the faith. I need you to trust me, because I can't tell you anything. Not until it's over. Why not? That's why, she smiled. Because you're curious, and you're loyal. And some of the things you hear about me, until I get this done, might sound crazy, or worse, so I need your faith. She meant it. She was completely sincere. No games or tricks. It was compelling, beautiful and scary. I loved it. Imagine this, I thought, all the time. She grabbed my shirt, and pulled my face close to hers. Look me in the queens, and tell me you've got all this, she commanded. Because, you know what, I love you, but I've got too much happening, at the moment, to put up with drama from the guy the first love. So, tell me you got this. I got this, I said, diving into that pool, that green lagoon so close, so deep. Good, she said, now get out. You say that like you mean it, I said, standing there, kind of floppy. No, I'm just saying it while I can. But, we walked to the door and she shoved me through, no kiss, hug or handshake. The door closed, and I walked the marble halls of the hotel alone. What was happening? It was wrong. It was all wrong. I sprinted back to her door and rang the bell. She answered immediately, startling me. Look, I said, trying to get the words out quickly. It's you. It's always been you, since the first time I saw you on the street, she interrupted me, leaning against the doorframe. Smiling, and about to walk in front of a bus. I remember you were smiling at a kid on the pavement. And there was a leaping dog at your feet. Do you know anything about the Taro? It's that Chinese mafia gang, isn't it? She laughed happily. I heard a temple bell inside. I knew it, the minute I yanked you back from in front of the bus, she said. When I looked into your eyes, all the lights went on. And time slowed down, I continued. For really long seconds. And the effect lasted for days, she said, straightening up to face me. Lynn, I just want you to be in this with me, by believing in me, but I can't involve you in it. Do you see? Favorite color, I said, ticking an imaginary list in my hand, corpuscle red. She relaxed against the doorway again, the too smart smile beginning. Favorite season, winter. In Basel, to be exact. Favorite movie, Key Largo. Favorite food, barbecued steak. Favorite song, The Internationale. Favorite car, because you're not into motorcycles yet. The Chevy Camaro, 1967. Matte black with blood red interior. She kissed me. I closed my eyes. A light hovered in my mind. The light faded in waves, falling beneath the world. Love like water, searching for the sea. Love like time, searching for meaning. Love like all that was, and ever will be. Stop it, she said, pushing me away. She put the back of her hand to her lips, and wiped away the sea. I opened my mouth to speak, but she slapped me, pretty hard. Don't get killed, she said. I want to do that again. The kiss, or the slap? Both, but maybe in a different order. She slammed